Okay, we can get going. So, um, this looks kind of washed out. I don't know why that is. So, let me open that. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, this definitely looks different. I don't know. Maybe my eyes have been adjusted. I think my monitor's like weird today. Oh well. So, um, there was a bug last time and my brain was not capable of working it out. Although we fixed everything in a way that I think makes sense now. And I think everything will kind of fall into place from now on. I'm pretty sure, at least. Okay. A few things. I think I can get rid of this vision shape thing. I think that was working. And now it looks less awful. Okay, nice. Have this, and yeah, the light does something. This should already be an interactable. Yes. Oh, I think it is actually. I think it is. Let's just have a little look at that. Simplify light switch. Yeah, it is, right? But if I go to the original light switch, yeah. So why? A lot of bloat here that we didn't need. That's kind of nice to see how we've changed that. I just wanted to make the button. It wasn't that. It was in physical button, right? Yeah. This class name's kind of misleading, but that's fine because this light switch is also a physical button, but I suppose it could inherit. Maybe. Okay. I don't know. I just want to. I suppose this kind of technically isn't. Let's just put it down now. Okay. Define visuals. Like I suppose this is not really grey boxing, but I don't really mind too much. I think that let's call this behavior. Let's call this visuals. Right, I think that it would be really nice to actually see the button moving, because we'll know it's actually doing something, right? And look, that done. Took like effectively no time at all. Okay. Okay. Some reason it's backwards. I suppose I should probably make the thing be forwards and stay forwards. Right, this the negative z direction is where we want to go. Okay, well, let's just do it like that then. And I mean, we know it's going to work, right? Oops. Bit there, cool. Okay. Simple button that controls the light switch, and you can disconnect it, right? And there's loads of UI missing from here. Cool. Yeah, it might be nice just to like print in a debug mode like what are the current things that the player's right clicked, because it's kind of hard to know like why this right now, why is this going wrong? Right? Like why can't I connect this to this? Just seems annoying to me. Okay, well that is actually a bug. Okay, well, Let's deal with the other bug that I wanted to deal with, because that's a new bug and I don't want to deal with it. Okay, so the bug was on ready, this doesn't do anything, so why not? Right, here's like kind of camera and it's looking here. And we can right in our monitor. This is an awful scene tree, by the way. I totally accept that. Okay, so like, what if I don't set anything? It sets it to this at least, so at least I know that the thing's there. Yeah, that's kind of valid. Right, but it resets it, so yeah, that's annoying. So we can have a little look at this input into the monitor. Right, and this is behavior, so I'm just going to comment this line out and hope that the thing doesn't change. It did change. That's weird. So we have an output being connected and doing the thing. This, to me, is what the behavior is, but clearly that's not true. Okay, so we probably want to have a little look at monitor. Right, so on value changed. Right, nothing's being printed when I start up the game. Is that true? No, it is. It's saying the sub viewport is not null. This is expected on connect, right? So it's here. So let's just remove all of that logic. Okay, so viewports can't show anything like this. Okay, that's useful to know. So what does it say about the viewport? Well, it says the viewport is relative to the local scene root. Okay, so let's remove this return and see what this path is. It's /root /main. So let's assign what we want it to be and then have a look at the TSCN. Great idea, me. Okay, so there should be sub viewport. Right. It should be sprite 3D is probably when I'll have a little look. Right, and this texture is this sub view resource. Gonna have 12 that. No. Okay, can I F for this? Yes, I can. And it has this viewport texture, right? But like, how does it know where the thing is, right? Like CCTV output. I don't know, texture. Yeah, like that's already confusing to me. So it has this sprite 3D. It has all these things. Right. This is what I want to follow link. Okay, it has this sub viewport, right? Box mesh, and it has this sub resource viewport texture. Right, and it's clearly showing something. Okay, so how does Godot know where this is? Like this viewport texture. Am I just being stupid? I don't know, it doesn't seem that obvious to me. Right, how this is a... Right, it has that? Yeah. So there has this... I don't understand how sub-resources work. The sub-resource as a texture. So I can save that as a texture. But where is that actually saved? Like... Oh, I suppose... Yeah, I can kind of git diff this. Maybe that tells me. Let me just be like super lazy and commit that, and I'll instantly undo it. Right, and if I now set the thing and save it, where's the difference? Oh, okay. I was stupid. I hadn't saved the scene. Okay, so obviously there won't be a path anywhere. So yeah. So I think that's instantly told me what's wrong, right? Because the paths that I was using, right, were, you can see here, /root/main. But these start museum. Right, which is the name of the scene, I think. No, I don't understand what this means, like, get local scene. Oh yeah, I'm stupid. Yeah, it's relative to the local scene root is what should be passed in, and that's not what I'm doing. So I need to change how I'm passing it. That's kind of annoying that that doesn't give any warning. Like it just errors. But that's nice to know what the error is. Okay, so it shouldn't be, the viewport path should not be this. Right, where else do I v.getPath? Literally nowhere. Okay, that's nice. So I guess we want to do like get scene. Any node? Select. Can I solution? Can we like open something, please? I hate it when you're in this no man's land of like VS Code doesn't want to tell you what's wrong, and it will just do this connecting thing, and it does 10 things, and it doesn't tell you what any of them are. And then it just says, nah, couldn't do it. Soz. Like, what are you meant to do? Just seems stupid to me. VS Code is minus minus in my opinion. But yeah, you still use it. Like, I want to select a solution. The solution. Close. But like, there's multiple solutions in this. Like, I don't know, does it just hate me today? Okay, now we have some actual complete that's doing something. But not that. Great. Okay, I think I'm just being stupid. Oh, maybe because I was doing it in the wrong place there. Right, like this doesn't make any sense. It's saying, can't connect to the GD language server. But it is, like, the thing is fucking open. Godot. Let's just try reopening it. I assume it will then do something. Maybe. Connection taken. Does that? Oh, yay! Okay, it works now. So, right. Scene, like root, get. This dot scene root. What? Yeah, okay, I'm confused now. Confused as hell, right? It says resource.get local scene. Okay, and that just doesn't even exist. Like, I guess you just have to go like get tree dot root dot path to, like get path to v. Like, I don't know, maybe that works. Nope. Okay, so that now now has main in front of it. So I'm confused, like how to, like, Godot, how to get local scene root. To get the root node of a scene, not of a whole tree, yes. Ah, okay. Scene dot current scene dot the root node of the currently loaded main scene, usually as a direct child of scene tree dot root. Yes. Setting this property. Okay, we're not doing that. That's fine. Please work. No. Okay, that is actually now bad because this viewport path. Okay, I'll remove all of those. So this says museum / new wall / CCTV / CCTV output, and that's exactly what I'm setting. So maybe I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a different approach here. And instead of passing a sub viewport, I pass a resource. That might work. Okay, so now let's just see if I'm actually understanding things. If I return there, what happens? It shows up, right? So this directly is ruining whatever it is. So exactly. So I want to like gd.print the viewport, the texture now. Okay, and I want to have as viewport texture, right? Okay. Dot viewport path. Right, and I want a gd.print. I mean, actually, that's probably fine. Just some delineator so I know when that starts and ends. Okay. So the paths are exactly the same, but the resource still doesn't work. That's interesting. Bro should read the documentation. Okay. Viewport.getTexture. v.getTexture. Saves a few lines there. And assume those things aren't needed anymore. Does this work? It does work. Okay, cool, perfect. So now we can do like this, and it's removed, and then we can do like this, and fuck all happens because there's another bug. Okay. Well, we fixed that one for now. That's good. I'm just gonna remove that because it's a bit of bloat. I'll remove my prints later on. But it does kind of feasibly work, right? Oh, I think I can kind of see maybe what's happening. I don't know, actually. So, I think it would be kind of useful to have some debugging view for... actually, let me show what I think it would be useful to have a debugging view for. I think it would be useful to have a view for the Raycast 3D, right? For what this is set to, because that's kind of, yeah, it's a bit silly. So let's just go something like this. Export private label, debugging label. Okay, and just go dot text, right, equals current output. Dot Name, does it have a name? No. Okay, and it'd just be nice to know if it's null or not, to be honest. And then we go to the player, we have a UI, let's just go label and go debugging label. Put it in, the bottom right or something. Like, yeah, like this or something, I don't know. Test text. And build this. And then export that debugging label. Perfect. Also, doesn't seem to need a reference to the player at the moment. So we should probably remove that. Okay, and now yeah, well, I mean, nothing's in there, so that makes sense. Right, so now we go bam, and now it tells us area 3D thing, and now nothing. Bam, and now still. So it has captured input node. Okay. This just seems useless. So let's, wait, what was even that? Yeah, it was the old connection logic, which we don't need. So this is captured input node. But it didn't actually connect it. Right, so now we should look at the implementers of this and go to, yeah, well, it would be this one, right? Right, let's just throw some prints here so we understand that it's definitely happening. Okay, so disconnecting video stream. Right, and then up here we can go connecting video stream, right? Just so we make sure we know what's happening. I think this, yeah, this will make sense. So it says connecting video stream. Okay, and then bam, and then bam. It didn't say disconnecting video stream. Okay. So I don't know what this is. I think it's an action. Yes. But it didn't say disconnecting either. Wait, that's very weird. I'm confused by that. Oh, yep. Okay. So we should put this here, right? Because we weren't actually using that function to disconnect. We were disconnecting it kind of manually. Okay. There, and it definitely said disconnecting video stream. So this is definitely true. And it didn't throw me any errors. But I think this is also another issue because it's also true of the light switch, right? It didn't want to connect earlier. That gives us an error 3D. That gives us that. Right, now it doesn't, and there's an error. Perfect. Thanks for the error. Okay. Cannot access a disposed object. DF signal ball 58. Here. So it's saying this is already Q-freed. Yeah, I think this isn't actually needed as a function. which is confusing to me. Because it's here, right? So it must mean that this is being called multiple times. Oh, yeah. That kind of makes sense, right? I think there's a massive flaw in my logic. Is when you run this, you should remove disconnection map input, right? Otherwise, I don't know how, right? If you just do like dict1 equals 1, right? And then dict1 is 2. I don't know how a dictionary behaves then. And I assume we have an issue. We can check how that works, right? Like, how do C# dictionaries behave when trying to assign multiple values to one key? Okay. So yeah, I'm just trying to think now what happens. So it tries to toggle the connection, right? Yeah, basically the issue here is toggle output depends on, its logic depends on if something exists, and since it does exist even when we've just removed a connection, then it tries to remove it again, which it can't do because there's nothing there. So the logic here, exactly, it's fine. We just want to do is, right, disconnection, exactly this, right, and then like remove dictionary entry. Right, so we should just go disconnection.remove, right, input. Right, and we should also have that in df signal video stream. Right, okay, like remove. Okay, let's remove this as well. Okay, yeah. What did I write here? Right, I mean, yeah. Okay. Now, I think we shouldn't get that same error at least. So, bam, 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 bam. That does nothing. Right clicking there. Cool. Okay, and then doing that doesn't do anything. And now this, I think, will, right, so I can right click on this output. That should reset it no matter what. Okay, which isn't the logic currently. It stays in the cache kind of thing. Okay, cool, perfect. So now let's hope that this works as well. Perfect. Okay, we remove the video feed. Nope, that's a different error. Okay. Okay, that is giving me another error though, so that's useful. Saying key was not present in the dictionary. Right, exactly. Shouldn't be present in the dictionary. And that's weird. Oh, yeah, okay. Because I didn't change the logic to be this, right? Okay, yeah, now I'm looking at it, there might be some simplification we can do, because I don't want to copy this function and this logic into every single type that I make, but that's fine. I think we're nearly at a place where we can just refactor everything we've done, and it will be way neater. We can make our scene tree neater. Okay, if this works now, I'm committing this. It does. Perfect. Okay. So that does that. Okay. And that does that. Okay, perfect. So now we can connect our signals nicely. And we have a light switch which does something which you can disconnect. Okay. Cool. So I think that's basically the system. Let me yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the system kind of as I envisioned it and wanted. So yeah, I think we can literally just take 10 minutes now to look at some unused functions and clean up what we have, right? Okay, and like, for example, I don't think this function's actually ever used. And like this logic should probably be not just copy paste it between files. Okay, so we can go fix, right? We fixed 2 bugs, right? It was like make, yeah, okay, so like correct, so reference, so make viewport textures. Yeah, okay, so create viewport textures correctly. Okay, yeah, make monitor.cs, create viewport textures correctly. Okay, so and what else do we do? Okay, yeah, we also did that. Okay, remove dictionary actions when, okay, after disconnections. Yeah, okay, make disconnection map update correctly on disconnect. Okay, aka. Right. Fix, and just call this like df signal. Yep, cool. Perfect. Oh, yes, that makes sense because that's that. Get push force with lease. Obviously, there's no one else using the code, but I don't know. It just feels nice to get used to this. Because I would like so quickly just type -- force. I feel like one day, if I don't get used to using this, force with lease, I'll accidentally mess something up when I'm working with someone else. Okay, so we're basically done. I think we should clean up the code, and then we should clean up the folder structure, and then we should clean up the scene tree, and make some nice components and stuff that we can reuse when making levels. So let's do that. Okay, I'm pretty sure this function is not used at all. Right, it's implemented and never used, so let's just comment it out because maybe we'll need it one day. Okay, and yeah, the disconnection logic. Right, I suppose you might want to yeah. I'm going to leave them here because I think maybe I'll make a mechanic that it uses disconnections, but you shouldn't be required to define it from iSignal. Okay, perfect. So that's that. Right, now I'm just trying to think of this. Okay, so that's an amazing point as well. Right, like this toggle output is used, but I'm pretty sure iSignal's connect output to isn't actually used. Right. Like this is using DF video streams one. So I also think that this shouldn't, that also isn't needed. Right. So we can very slightly simplify our code by going to this and changing this to this. Right. Okay. And changing this to just rename this to input and then just removing that. Right, and now we can go to df signal ball and we can say something like this, and then also remove that. Cool, and yes, whilst that is true, that isn't what I wanted to do. Okay. Okay, I wanted to do that here as well. Oh, yeah, okay, it has to be there because of how we're using interfaces, but it doesn't have to be here, right? Right, so now we have disconnect output 2, connect output 2, right? We have disconnect output 2 and connect output 2. Okay, Perfect. And we just remove some casts. Okay, let's get rid of this because we don't need it. Okay, let's search for igd.prints. Let's just remove them. That's nothing to do with this. That's nothing to do with this either. Right, let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. We don't need this. We maybe need... okay, let's leave them. Okay, perfect. So that's that. So I'm pretty sure that code is now simplified. We've removed all the unnecessary stuff and unnecessary casts. Okay. This shouldn't be this. This should be a cast exception. Right, okay. Same here. Okay, and now I want to just have a little look. At some of this code which we're reusing right between df signal ball, right, in df video stream. So for one, we do actually have this, right? Right, and I'm just trying to think, maybe it would be simpler. Right? Like I've kind of gone full circle. Maybe we could make a generic type, df signal t, that can define this for us. But that gave us all sorts of issues. And yeah, I think now I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, maybe that is possible. Because I don't know. Is it possible? Is it possible to do that? Right, like sub viewport here appears everywhere. The ball appears here. True. True. I think it just makes it a little bit more confusing. So I'm tempted just to not do that for now. So that's fine. Okay, yeah, I'm tempted to not do that for now. So let's just refactor, right, like needing up df signal code. Okay, and now we can go here and let's kind of just refactor this a little bit. So we want generics, right? I simplified. Yeah, so something like this. I don't think they can be generic, that's fine. And then we should have like signal types. Okay, which are these two for now. Device light 3D. Right, okay, and we can just go devices. Right, and we go, yeah, so that's, yeah, I suppose that's fine. Right, we go light switch. So we have simplified light switch, we have spotlight, we have monitor, we have CCTV. Right, and in devices, I don't know why device light. Right, and light switch should definitely not be here. Should be there. Okay, cool. Perfect. So we have done the thing, right? We've done exactly what we wanted to do. We refactored that folder structure. Nice. Okay. And we can just go refactor. Okay, so reorganize folder structure for new simplified devices within. Okay. And then now we can unfuck the scene tree. But there is something I just want to think about. So yeah, let's just close, oops, close all editors. right? And I want to open Spotlight, right? And I give myself some things here, which should be like this, probably in notes actually. Okay, so done. 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 That's an amazing point. Okay, there's still a lot of unnecessary logic everywhere. Okay, left over from iDevice. Okay, which isn't being used, which we can remove. But I just wanted to, yeah, this is like summary of how inputs and outputs are used. Okay, and right, let's just call it end of summary. Basically, this line, I'm kind of thinking we should maybe enforce somehow. Okay, we could maybe use inheritance or something. Like I said last stream. But right now, I'm probably going to leave it. Right? So there's, yeah. You can either yeah. You can, yeah, we could, so basically, yeah, my train of thought was lost. So we want to enforce this eventually, probably, okay, maybe the generic typing that I thought about earlier, okay, and also maybe, yeah, I think that's basically it. Okay, so, okay, just write it. Could maybe refactor df signal ball and df signal video stream, right, to share code somehow. But yeah, they're common behaviors, right? And yeah, I think that's basically it. But for now, as I was saying, I'm not going to do that because it sounds kind of boring. So yeah, let's not do that. Like just remembering this isn't too much of a pain. Okay, so nothing to call deferred there, right? Okay, and yeah, visible equals input.value. That probably isn't actually needed. Right, I'm pretty sure it's not needed because the input.value won't have anything. I think that should be actually removed. Right, so this is on and this is defaulting to off, I believe. So if we go output from switch, right, the initial value is on. That doesn't work then. Yeah, because it's doing visible is not visible. Yeah, okay. So let's just write down could change to not visible. Okay, if you want parallel switch logic. Okay, but this is untested. Tested and probably will break somehow. And might break, e.g. the initialization logic, the value initialization logic. Right, I suspect very much that doing this will now work. Right, it will be default to on. Yes, okay, cool. I do understand my code. Okay, so I can turn this off, right, and then connect this there to there. Right. Okay. So there's a bit of a slight issue there. Right, basically the issue is that we kind of want this to be visible equals not visible, but not on ready, right? On ready, the first initialize we want visible equals v. Right? So, I don't know. Can I be bothered to fix that right now? Kind of no. Let's just have a little look at df signal ball. Right, so it sets, when we connect an off light to an on switch, right, it sets this. not this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know why that's kind of wrong, but I kind of can't be bothered, but at the same time feel that I should. Like, if I want this to be off, right? I don't know. How should you define the behavior in that case? You've just connected an off switch to an on light. Should probably update when that happens, right? But didn't seem to do anything there. Okay. Hopefully the first one's false and the second one's true when I do this, but turn that off. Connect it there. They're both false. Okay, so the value already of this of this input is already false. So that's because it isn't get initialized correctly, which is a shame. That's what I was talking about with this exact thing, okay. Yeah, I think I understand why that is. Because this is defaulting to false, so it doesn't get sent again. Yeah. So you could kind of fix this by putting this here. But I don't want to do that. So the best way is you actually want a ready function, which definitely, probably, I'm just going to write this out. Probably want a ready function, okay, that 100% forces, okay, the spotlight to be in the right state, right initial state, okay, rather than relying on value change signal. Which I guess, to be honest, maybe I'm being a bit stupid, right? Yeah, this is fine, actually. What we can do is I think we can very easily fix this, right? We can say public action, right, like behavior, right, is going to take in a ball, okay? And I'm aware there's already like a million actions here, right? And I can say extract local function. Right, just go. What? Oh yeah, okay. That is terrible code by me, that's just wrong. This is what I want behavior to be. Right, now plus equal behavior. Right, and now what we can do is we can, here, when we set current values to be equal, set initial behavior to, to follow the initial value. Right. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. The DF signal board doesn't know what's using it. That's annoying. Okay, well, get rid of that. Yeah. This just seems like a stupid problem. I don't know how to fix it. There you go. That's the answer. Okay, so we can call deferred it. I'm just trying to think of like exactly. You wanna force on value changed to be omitted. When you put it like that. Okay, force on value changed to be omitted. Okay, even if it hasn't changed. Okay, so that all listeners, okay, have their initial state enforced to be correct. Right? I think that's now I do DF signal video stream. We can do exactly the same thing. Cool, and now I think this will work. Perfect. It did work. Okay, it works exactly how I'd want it to work. Yes, okay. Now we're cooking. Now this doesn't do anything, right? Okay, and now it's just a kind of Russian roulette. That was off. And turn it back on, turn it back off. Perfect. That's the behavior I want. Okay, and it's just one unnecessary signal. Cool. Okay. Perfect. So that's done. Okay. Nice. Let's go to notes. See what else we had to do. Yeah. So let's just go fix. See if it's obvious what the fix is, right? Kind of is. It's just one line changed. Yeah. Just move that. Okay, fix. So yeah, make listeners to input DF signals. They have their initial state set up correctly on ready. Maybe I should actually. I think it's fine. Right, exactly. I mean, I commented out that line. I think that's readable. Okay. Now finally we can go to Hackervision. Okay, there's so much stuff here that's just never used. Like, what is this being used by? Right. Okay, like register physical connection. Like, it just is never being used. Okay, so let's go player interact. Player interact, raycast, right? Yeah, I think this is pretty standard stuff, right? Okay, we can just go debugging. Okay, maybe it would be a nice idea to turn this rather simple code into like an actual terminal overlay or something at some point that can take in instructions. I don't think there's actually add-ons that do that. We can maybe implement one of them, but I'm just aware that I want to do this. This is exactly, these iDevices aren't needed because we're not going to use iDevice anymore. Okay, we can go to Hackervision, right? Okay, and we can remove a lot of this stuff. Okay, these aren't needed. Okay. Oh, actually, this logic might be needed, right? Because, yeah. I just want to remove these two things because they're not needed, right? And this connection also isn't needed, right? So let's just go for it. Let's go simplified. Oh yeah, but we'd have no. we actually might need this. This logic, right? Because of if we're connecting moving devices, which I don't know if we're going to do or not, then we're going to have to update these lines somehow. Yeah, so let's see if any of these functions are used, right? Like, yeah, okay. So it is kind of necessary, so I'm just going to leave that there. Going to revert that change. And yeah, just remove a very small amount of unnecessary stuff. So I think that's actually fine. I'm going to leave HackerVision as it is. Because this code isn't used at the moment, but it might be useful in a second. And it's not, it's only a couple hundred lines. I think it's perfectly readable. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so like currently, okay, so these are for iDevice, device-based logic, okay, and not used by iSimplified device / DF signal based logic. Okay. So yeah, I think that's basically it for what we wanted to do, right? We have a system where we can now, for any C# type or custom class, define an output from a physical thing, for example, a camera, and an input, okay? And these little cubes are doing logic that's completely independent of the things which listen to those inputs and outputs, okay? And then our one line of connection here is behavior defined by a device, okay, for about this type, and it listens to the changes that this sends off and receives, and updates its behavior and how it looks and how it acts accordingly. Right, kind of you can see my shadow there in that image. Anyway, so yeah, which I think is cool. So I guess I'm probably gonna finish here today, but there's the sun. I think that as far as grey boxing is concerned, this is going pretty well. Should probably move those lights down a bit so they illuminate. Let me actually do that. Oh yeah, they're spotlights, so they won't do that. So yeah, these lights look really unphysical as well because they don't have any like a physical radio distribution. It'd be nice to emulate that somehow. So yeah, basically, I think the system works now. Right, as far as DF signals go, as far as our signals between inputs and outputs go, we can define an arbitrary number of them. We can define an arbitrary number of inputs for them. We can, yeah, the behavior seems to work, okay, and the overall implementation is independent of the types. So yeah, sure, there's maybe some refactoring and you could make some classes to inherit from or another interface or something. But as far as I kind of care about it, we write the, we can just copy paste what we have and just change those few lines for now for different things. So I guess I'll just think now about what other devices I want to add to this museum, right? We have light switches, we have this. I got a lot of devices in my head, right? I want to be able to connect video to a laptop, right? That would be cool. This is a device, right? So we should change the keypad, right? Keypad, yeah. I mean, currently this is using like exactly two-way communication here. We need these buttons to be connected in. Yeah, right. Using the new logic. We need doors to be connected in using the new logic. We need robots to be connected in using the new logic. We probably want alarms, okay, where, you know, if you stand in front of a CCTV camera, it connects to an alarm. We probably want other stuff as well, maybe. Yeah, so for alarms, you could have the sound alarm, you could have like a light-based alarm as well. Right. Yeah, I guess that would be a good start. There's like, what, 4 or 5 things to make. Should be relatively straightforward following what we've already made. And then maybe we should think about like being able to plug in devices. I think it would be kind of cool if you could break into like a little shop or something. And one of the ways to, yeah, for example, like maybe you could find the power outlet for like one of the doors or something. And maybe you could unplug it, right? And whether that would keep it locked or unlocked, I don't know. But you could like lock people in, right? Maybe like the security robots, you could lock them in a room by unplugging the power for a door. Yeah, something like that I think would be cool. So we have these like kind of magic wire connections, kind of inspired by Gunpoint, but it would be nice to have something physical that the player can like actually click and drag and move about. And if you get it near to like a plug socket, it like absorbs into the plug socket, and I don't know, when you're looking at hacker vision, you can see some energy go along the cable or something. Yes, I'm trying to think what else Gunpoint had. It also had guns, as maybe the name suggests, and it had plugs which can electrocute people, and also had elevators. So it was kind of simple. I don't think it had tons of devices. It also had breakable glass. Maybe that's a bit of a high shot though. So yeah, I think this is nice. And as far as puzzles go, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't need tons more to be able to create like a first demo level, which we can definitely do. I'd love to do that. But as far as like, I don't know, feeling like a hacking god trying to break into somewhere, I guess you maybe couldn't do that with this system. You probably need a few more things. But that's okay. We still have the logic for this laptop, right? Like, I'm not against using this to connect to things and like change variables, right? Already have that logic here. I think this is just a way nicer way of viewing connections and editing them. Right, but I'm not against like, I don't know, plugging in a USB here and that making one of these connections to your laptop, and then when you open your laptop, you're given a list of options for things to do. So I think we can add like a lot of complexity if we wanted to, as always. But we have the basics here, so I think we should just expand the basics to as many devices as possible, document them all in this museum working, and then we can make whatever we have there, we can just go, okay, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, let's stop there. Make a basic level with that, okay? See if that makes sense and works, and if it's awful or not. And if it's not awful, then we can go, okay, let's make another level, let's make it slightly more complicated, let's involve the laptop maybe. Yeah. Okay, and then once we've done that for maybe like 3 to 5 demo levels, then we can start thinking about some visuals. And then once we have that, we'll have an actual demo that we can put on Itch. Yes. I think that's the plan over like the next 2 months or something. Okay, cool. I think that sounds pretty reasonable for a start. Cool. Okay, well, yep. That's it for today.